Whether it makes you laugh, cry, scream, or fly, there's a song for every emotion. On this episode, we're Kelsey and Priya, and we talk about the songs that make up the soundtrack to your life. Because life is in the lyrics.
Yeah. Hey, Kelsey. Well, little listeners, today is a first for the pod because I have a guest co-host. Mike was out of town, but as they say, the show must go on. So I enlisted the help of my longtime bestie, Kelsey Matheson McCord. She's a serial entrepreneur. That sounds fancy. Owner of Anamaya Resort and Retreat Center in Costa Rica. You have to go. And certified life and business coach who works specifically with women entrepreneurs in the wellness space, which I love. And she has great taste in music. Welcome,
I
dude.
do. Thanks, dude. I do have great taste in music. I like that you said that.
Yes, and you and Scott have paid that taste forward to your daughter, Maya. So now she
Mhm.
has great taste in music.
She does, and she loves, as my husband and I do, who you've also had on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
She loves all kinds of music and all
Yeah,
genres of music, and
and all
from
decades
all
of music.
decades. Yeah.
Yeah. I should mention, since you kind of touched upon it, that you are actually the third person from your family to be on this podcast.
I mean, I was gonna say something, Priya. We've known each other for 30 years, and I don't know how
Longer
I'm
than,
the last one in my family,
well,
but you just saved the best for last. That's what I'm gonna say.
that's exactly what I was going to say. And you know why I was going to say that at the same time?
Because
Because
we
we share a
share a
brain.
brain. We do.
100%. So we had Maya on, who's my goddaughter, after we had gone to see the Eras tour together. And then we had Scott on, who is a fabulously gifted actor, musician, so many things. And we just had him on quite recently when he was talking about being an actor, musician, and all of that. And his show From, which is currently in its deep into its fourth season and about to
Mhm.
start filming its fifth and final season, which is super exciting.
It's crazy.
And then I thought, who can I bring on as a guest co-host? And of course, you were my go-to.
Nice. I love being your
Yeah,
go-to. You're my
yeah,
go-to in many things
always,
too.
always, Kelsey. Okay, so our topic this week is music that makes you happy. And that was inspired by a couple of different chats I had with two friends within a very short time frame. I think it was like within 24 or 48 hours, where we were having some talks about stuff that was going on in their lives, and they were both commenting on how I'm such a positive person. And I thought that was so fascinating because I I guess I didn't really consider myself to be like a positive or a happy person. Um, and then I thought, you know what? I do feel very positive and happy these days.
Hmm.
But as I was listening to some of our original, like first recordings, there were several months in that first year where I constantly talked about how unhappy I was.
Mm.
So it was really interesting to me to hear these people say that they think of me as such a positive and happy person, and feeling like I am in that place now, but then connecting to sort of where I was just about a year and a half ago and saying, how did that happen? And when did that change happen? And
Hmm.
what role did music play in that?
Yeah.
So I thought you would be specifically great for this topic because you were somebody that I did go to when I was having a lot of those,
Hmm.
thoughts about, like, I'm not happy. Who's happy? Are you happy? I would ask all my friends, are you happy? How are you happy? Like, what do you do to make you happy? Because I don't know how to make myself happy.
And what does it
And you
even
had some,
mean?
and what
Right?
does
Like
that even
what does
mean?
happiness really mean?
Yeah.
You
And how
know?
do I get there?
Hmm.
And you had some great ideas for me, like practical tools and ways to sort of find little moments of happiness that
Hmm.
eventually would spark into greater joy. So, do you want to just touch upon that quickly?
Yeah. I mean, I think from what I remember, one of the things we talked about is I had you write out a list of things that spark joy in your life,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Um, So my husband and I have this little saying. It's called a smodge, and it's actually engraved. Actually, I don't think it's in my wedding band anymore. I was just looking at it. I think it's kind of rubbed off. We'll have to get it engraved again. But we both had SMOJ smodge engraved in our wedding bands, and a smodge is a sudden moment of joy.
Oh, I love that. And I never knew that, Kels.
Yeah, I don't talk about it much. It's kind of just something between Scotty and I. And I also think
Yeah.
it was a lot more like it was we talked a lot more about it I think in the beginning of our relationship, like, oh, I just had a smodge.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm smodging right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a verb, it can be, so an adjective.
Yeah.
Um, and so I, in all honesty, to be fully transparent, we don't say it as much as we used to.
Right.
But also I think in the beginning of the relationship, everything's heightened, and then, and then life, adulting happens, life takes over, and I think maybe sometimes we kind of forget, or, we just get focused on other things. But when you and I were talking back then, I said, make a list of all the things that bring you joy,
Mm-hmm.
and then look at that list regularly, and it could be a big thing like I'm going on a trip to Italy, or it could just be a small thing where I make my favorite tea and I sit under a tree in the backyard, or I
Yeah.
listen to music, or I have a dance party, or I pet my cats, or I go for a walk in nature, or I paint my toes,
Or I have a donut,
or
like a
have a
really
donut.
indulgent
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought was so great about that piece of advice was it wasn't always like go on a trip to Italy,
Hmm.
um, you know, get 10 new clients for whatever I'm doing. It wasn't anything major like that. It could be partly things like that, but it was small moments of joy. I
Hmm.
love that, smudge. And those are things that are accessible to anybody at
At
any
any
time.
time. Hmm.
It could be just reaching out to that friend that you haven't talked to in a long time. And whether it's just exchanging a few text messages to let them know you're thinking of them. Because I know when I hear from a friend after a long time, it's just like, oh, hey, oh, look
Hmm.
at that. And that just gives you a moment of joy. And that's something you're giving to another person too.
Hmm.
But talking about dance parties, that's something that really got, I think, all of us through COVID,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
used to have these Zoom dance parties
Yeah, but
that,
it started because we would have them in real life when we would
yes.
hang out, right?
Mhm.
So we would hang out, we would be, weekends away, or hanging out with, our daughter when she was little, or whatever. You and I had epic dance parties.
Uh-huh.
And so then during COVID, we kind of continued that tradition, but just over Zoom. And then you would play music, and then we would play music, and we would each choose a song, which we did again, like in person. And
Mhm.
but this was just during COVID, and moving your body too. Like you're talking about, like happiness. We'll talk
Yeah.
about this, I'm sure, like with music and why music makes you feel good and that dopamine hit. But so does moving your body to the music. And that definitely helped, I think, get us through that and Schitt's Creek. But that's a whole other.
Yeah.
That's
Kelsey, I think we need to talk about one specific dance party that you and I,
Oh yeah. Do we need to
you and
talk about that though? Do we need
I
to?
I think so because I still remember that as one of the most joyful, purely entertaining moments of my life. Also one of the most difficult to recover from.
Oh my God. We,
Okay, so
I'm surprised we survived that dance party, because
that
I mean, it did give
Mhm.
us a lot of joy. And
Yeah.
then the next morning, not so
It
much.
Not so much. Not so much, yes. So we, were at my Airbnb, which is called Terra, and, there were several people there during the day, but then it was just Kelsey and I that night. So we had started with, a 5 o'clock glass of rosé with some of the company that was there, and then we just kept up with the glasses of wine, and then
Because then we went to your neighbor's house, and then we had a
yes,
glass of wine there, and then she
yes,
came over, and we had another
yes,
one, and then we're
yes.
cooking. Like it just,
Uh-huh,
I mean, it made
uh-huh.
sense at the time.
It did. And then after we had dinner, we started a
Oh,
dance party.
well, we
And
went to
what
the
we
hot
did,
tub first,
we did go to the hot tub first, which was probably
had
not the
more
best
wine,
idea.
not
Right,
the
more
best.
wine in the hot
Hot
tub.
tub.
then we thought, should we dance?
Yeah, we should.
We
And we
should.
did.
And we did for hours. For hours.
hours.
Like probably for 3 or
Oh,
more
or
hours.
more. And we had the most epic dance party in your kitchen.
Yes.
And luckily your neighbors weren't close. Like you have
Right.
a nice sized property because we
Yes.
probably would have gotten in trouble.
Had some noise complaints. Yes.
And then at one point I remember you picking up a bottle of wine and going, "Oh no, Kelsey, what are we going to do about this?" And it was empty. And I went to your wine fridge, and I don't know,
Yeah.
at that point, I was like, I just grabbed whatever was in there. We weren't,
Yeah.
yeah, and we shouldn't
Yes.
have. That was the
Well,
one that put us over.
that was the tipping point. Yeah. And I
Yeah,
think all said and done, between the two of us, had probably 4 bottles of wine.
probably over the course of that entire afternoon and evening.
Yeah. So it was a long time, like maybe over 8 or 9 hours, but
But
still,
still, that's a lot of alcohol.
that's more alcohol than either of our bodies required. But that
But
being said, and we don't ever do that. Like we just went back and forth. Like I picked a song and then you
yeah,
picked a song and then I picked a song and it was always a surprise. And
yeah,
it was just like it was the best time. We
yeah.
danced till like 2 or 3 a.m.
Oh, easy. Yeah,
Yeah, and we did have the best time. The next day, we were both literally suffering greatly,
yeah,
and we're very concerned for our health. But we don't
yep,
need to go into that
yeah.
part.
My husband did think at one point I might not be alive.
Yeah, he
And
kept
he
calling and you were
contacted
not
you and said,
answering.
"Is my wife alive?"
And the only reason I was able to reply was because I had to get up to feed my cats. So I forced myself to get up. It was just the best time. And so, highly recommend the dance parties because, as you say, music and movement
Yeah,
helps to move these emotions through our body.
yeah,
So, since we're on that topic, Kels, why don't you just
yeah.
go into that a bit?
Yeah, I mean it movement and dancing like it's not just listening to the because listening to the music will make you feel happy, will give you a dopamine hit, will like there's nostalgia involved for a lot of songs. Like there's all this science kind of behind why it makes
Hmm.
us certain songs make us feel so good. But with with certain songs too, like you just want to move your body. It's just automatic. And emotions are meant to move through us because it's just energy,
Yeah.
right? And it's just energy. They're not supposed to, energy isn't supposed to sit stagnant in our body. So when we combine music and movement, we're processing that energy and those emotions like in real time, and they're feel good emotions.
Hmm.
Or and sometimes like songs can make you cry, so it can help you move through like sad emotions too, right? But
Yes.
I think like stress can stay stuck in our bodies energetically. Anxiety loops, right?
Hmm.
Frustration can build. And so that's why, like, when we were dancing around your kitchen at 2 in the morning, we were processing a lot of energy. it was it was moving through us, and then the next day we were in bed for a while, but that had more to do with the wine than it did to the music. But
Exactly.
it's literally just you're on kind of a natural high.
Yeah.
And I think that's why our body will automatically just start to move when we hear a song that
Hmm.
we love.
And a great example of that is that, and I talked about this on the podcast. So recently, I lost a very close friend, but one whom I had drifted from in the
Hmm.
past several years. So I got a text from his sister that he had passed away, which was a surprise,
Hmm.
but also not a surprise because we had kind of seen it coming. We just didn't think that it was going to happen when it did.
Yeah.
And when I got that news, I didn't really know how to process it.
Hmm.
Um, so I put on music that I
Yeah.
really liked, and I ended up just having my own dance party by myself in the kitchen
Mm.
and probably danced for about 2 hours
Oh,
just to just to deal with the emotions because I it was a soup of emotions.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
was shock, it was sadness, obviously. It
Hmm.
was, in some ways, relief,
Hmm.
and then guilt for feeling relief.
Hmm.
It was so many. emotions. And I was at first paralyzed, like, oh, what do I do with this
Yeah.
information? Um, and then the dancing just really, really in a strange way, I guess, because it doesn't seem like it's not something that therapists just necessarily prescribe. Go and dance your emotions away. But they do say movement is
Yeah.
good. Go out and walk in nature.
Yeah.
But I think we should add the dance party to that because
Yeah.
it does feel good.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like we don't have to understand music to feel it or love it
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
right or have it process that soup of emotion. You like there's no analyzing in that moment. You're just feeling and being in touch with your body and being in touch with how you're feeling or just allowing it all to flow. The guilt, the the sadness, the relief, the all of it.
Hmm.
You're just allowing your body to do what it does
Yeah.
naturally. Like
And
your body's so intelligent, it already knows. And I
mhm.
love that you did that. That's so amazing and powerful.
And, I remember my therapist when I was in regular therapy, she once mentioned to me that there is scientific evidence to show that women's bodies specifically hold emotions much longer than men's bodies.
Interesting. Yeah.
And yeah, and so I thought that was fascinating and freeing because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of women think, "Oh my God, I'm so over emotional. Why am I still hanging on to this?" And they're so critical of themselves and how they're feeling and for how long they're feeling it. But,
Yeah.
that's how our bodies are made.
Well, and also I would like add a whole other layer, uh, in regards to how society
Yeah,
tells women how to, quote unquote, behave. How we're supposed to
right.
show up in the world is very different than how, and I don't want to go down the road of the patriarch at the moment, but
Hmm.
women are taught that like we don't be emotional, we shouldn't be
Hmm.
too much,
Don't
right?
be
Don't
hysterical.
be his, yeah, exactly, right, these words that
Yes.
and and how we are supposed to show up. Like I've been telling this speech way before the Barbie movie. It's like society tells us that we have to be everyone's best friend and we have to
Hmm.
have a smoking hot bod, but we can't be too sexy, and we have to be like a really good parent and then also be a Michelin star chef in the kitchen and then swing from the chandeliers in the in in the bedroom, and also have a really good career and like do all the things and have a Pinterest perfect home and all of those things, right? Like
Hmm.
again, that's how society basically is kind of programming women in terms of what we're how we're supposed to show up in society and in our lives. And I know intellectually we know that it's bullshit and that we
Yeah.
shouldn't buy into that, but there is a part of our programming that is subconscious that absolutely shows up
Yeah.
for us. And so I think like we do struggle with that.
Because we've been groomed since childbirth.
Yeah.
Society has groomed us to fill a certain role and be a certain way, but not
Yeah.
be too much of it, or else you're, you know,
Yeah.
thought to be that whole term hysteria back in Sigmund Freud's time, that it was considered a female illness.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating, but
Yeah.
hopefully we are progressing beyond that a little bit nowadays.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So I read some interesting articles. Now, there's a neuroscientist, Dr. Jacob Jolich, who said that top happy songs combine high tempo, major keys, and positive lyrics to boost mood. And according to scientific studies and polls, the song that is frequently cited as the number one happiest song is Don't Stop Me Now by Queen.
Yeah.
And that's specifically driven by its fast tempo, high energy, and uplifting lyrics. I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool that across different polls and different research, that song kind of emerges as number one.
Yeah, I love that song. I love it so much. It makes me so happy. And it's true, like they also talk about the Beatles and specifically Paul McCartney.
Mm,
He's known for writing certain melodies that are just really easy to for your brain to latch onto. And so their music is also really powerful as well. But it's like that that tempo and the keys, right? It's
Yeah.
faster. It's in a major, what they call a major key. Scotty always talks about the fact that, Paul McCartney writes in major keys. He talks about that all the time. I never really understood what that meant.
Mm,
But it just basically means that it sounds brighter, it's more
hmm.
uplifting. And yeah, I love, love, love Don't Stop Me Now
Yeah, it is
by
definitely a
Queen.
great song that even if you're not a fan of Queen, I feel like there are, or other artists, like there are certain songs that just they're created in a certain way, and so
Yeah.
your body reacts to them whether or not you like them. I mean, mind
Yeah.
you, there are people who, you know, if that song comes on, they'd probably be like, absolutely not, I'm not listening to this. For me, that song is Walking on Sunshine. If I hear that
Yes.
song, even though I like the sentiment behind it, I
No.
like the lyrics, I like the idea, Walking on Sunshine, but
Yeah.
the song itself makes me want to slap the person who
Yeah.
wrote it.
Yeah. I mean, there are songs that make me want to throat punch people.
Yeah.
There are songs, we could do another episode on this, or you and Mike could do an episode on this. There are songs I never need to hear again.
Yeah,
And
we
it's,
have done episodes on that,
oh,
and
yeah.
I feel like we could do several because we did one on Christmas songs that we specifically don't like. Don't get me
I
started
know,
on
I
Feliz
know which
Navidad.
one. I know the first. Yes, exactly. Feliz
But then I
Navidad for you.
realized that I might be a racist in
You
my
might be.
holiday
Hmm.
holiday musical choices because I also don't like the song Melikiluki Lama
Oh
da da
yeah, the
da
Hawaiian.
da.
Hmm.
Yeah,
What about Boney M? Boney M's Christmas album is one, and
I
also and Stevie Wonder, two of my favorite all-time Christmas albums.
no, I love them. It's not that I'm racist in terms of the artist. It's I'm racist in the terms of the melodies and stuff, I think. Unconsciously, this is not something I'm consciously saying that, but I just realized when I thought these are the two songs that I don't like, I thought, wait a second,
Yeah,
this
wait
is
a minute.
this is not cool of me.
Wait a minute.
Am I
Um,
secretly musically racist? Who
You are.
knows?
Well, and here's the thing is like I went through because I was looking at lists of songs that like are instant mood boosters. Of course, Don't Stop Me Now by Queen was number
Hmm.
one. Walking on Sunshine is also on that list, which I'm also not a fan of.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then there was a so I don't mind this version. He is also a Hawaiian musician.
Okay.
And he does a song that it's a mix of Somewhere Over the Rainbow
Oh
and
yeah.
the What a Wonderful World. And both of those songs I never need to hear again.
Right.
Ever. His version of this mashup of these two songs is actually quite beautiful. I can't remember his name, but he's a Hawaiian musician. But anyway, but those are certain things that songs that I'm like, I never need to hear What a Wonderful World again, even though it's from one of my favorite movies. It was in the soundtrack of Good Morning Vietnam. And and Somewhere Over the Rainbow, I never need to hear that song again either, ever.
But somehow the mashup is
Somehow the
acceptable.
mashup is quite lovely, but I would. It's not a go-to. Like so,
Right.
those songs that were considered instant mood
Hmm.
boosters. Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars. I was like, oh yeah, I
Yeah.
get that. Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake. Dancing
Hmm.
Queen, ABBA.
Hmm.
And Happy by Pharrell, which I know a lot of people were like, I
Yes.
never need to hear that song ever again. But I have to admit, I kind of dig the Happy by Pharrell. Of course, Don't Stop Me Now, and then Feel Good specifically for an emotional reset, or Three Little Birds by Bob Marley.
Oh yeah.
This Somewhere Over the Rainbow mashup that I was talking about. I Got a Feeling by the Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
And
Great
then of
song.
course Don't Stop Believin', which is the anthem song
Yeah.
from Journey that of course everybody likes. They're saying like these are a bit more grounding. It's not just hype, but they kind of remind you that like everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Kind of
A
songs.
funny little piece of trivia about Happy by
Mm.
Pharrell.
Hmm.
That was the eighth or ninth song that he wrote for consideration on that soundtrack. So they asked
Oh,
him
no
to write
kidding.
a song for the soundtrack
Yeah.
of Minions, I think it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, it was one of those.
And he
Yeah.
yeah, so he wrote seven versions beforehand, and then he was like getting so frustrated because they kept saying, no, this is not quite right, not quite right. And then he was like, kind of wrote that from a place of frustration and sort of like sarcasm. And that was the song that
That's
hit,
maybe that's why I like it.
right?
Because
And
I
it is,
got why people were like, oh my God, first of all, it was way overplayed. People are like, I never need to hear this song
yes.
again. And I get how it's kind of like, but maybe it's the sarcasm that I could feel that energy and why I like it. Because as you know, Priya, that's why we're friends. I love
Yeah.
good sarcasm.
What are you trying to say? I'm not sarcastic.
No, not at all. Not at all.
How dare you?
It's our Gen
Oh,
X. It's our Gen X qualities.
that's right. Yeah, we love talking about how the generations handle different issues and
Yeah,
emotions. Is
thousand
quite funny.
percent. And
Yeah.
Gen Xers too, because like nostalgia has a big, like that plays a big part in terms of like listening to music that makes us feel good.
Hmm.
Is the nostalgia angle, right? Like I think I was telling you before, like a song that I would never get tired of is Down Under by Men at Work.
Yes. Yes.
I will never tire of that song. I'll never tire of, many of the Beatles songs, Monkeys, Queen, Heart, Fleetwood Mac,
Hmm.
like I can list so many artists that like never ever will I ever get tired of them. And that's just that nostalgia,
Right.
that gives us that
Well, and
dopamine
there,
hit.
yeah, and Mike and I have talked about that before about how there's also research that says that we are sort of hardwired to the music of our youth.
Hmm.
So that music just always brings back good memories.
Hmm.
Maybe for some people it brings back not so great memories
Hmm.
depending on what your youth was like, but I think that everybody hopefully at least has some songs from their formative teenage years,
Hmm.
that they whenever they hear them it just takes them back to a good place.
Hmm.
So that is something that I definitely, whenever I hear a song from the 80s, especially one that's not played often on the radio,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just like, oh my God, that song. And how do I have those lyrics in my
In my head
brain
somewhere.
when I can't remember? Like, I was just thinking to myself, like, what did I do last night?
Yeah.
What did I do? And I was like, oh, yes, I had a very full night. I actually was out. I went to, a tempo game, like Toronto Tempo's game. I did something very exciting and new, but I can't remember that
Yeah.
12 hours after the fact,
Yeah. But then a song will come on and you're like, how do I know every single lyric to
every
this
lyric.
song?
Our brains are amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so one other thing I wanted to touch upon was COVID and
Mm-hmm.
how that impacted, our, first of all, our happiness at
Mm-hmm.
that time, and
Mm-hmm.
also what we consider happiness to mean.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know for me, that changed a lot.
Yeah.
I think previously I thought, well, success and like reaching a certain stage of my
Yeah.
career and money, like having a certain amount of money in my bank account, or, having like an insane amount of money in my bank account so I
Yeah.
could do all the things I've ever dreamed of. I could go on all the vacations. I
Yeah.
could, buy all the great houses, have a house in 3 different countries. Like I used to think those were the measures of happiness.
Yeah.
And that all kind of
Yeah.
changed drastically during COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how did that change what happiness meant for you?
Well, so I think that's a great question because one of the things that I talk a lot about is that the whole pursuit of happiness idea
Mm,
is quite shackling. Like it doesn't
hmm.
actually serve us because it's the idea of like we're always on this pursuit of happiness means like then we're not right now. Like we can't be in this moment, in the present moment, right? And I think part of, understanding what makes us happy is also what doesn't. And so
Right.
right and then I think all when you're shut down by something like COVID and you take yourself everywhere you go, but now you're really like you're basically shut in, all the other
Hmm.
distractions in life, all the other things, like we're kind of forced to look at ourselves and look at like what do we want in this life, what is
Yeah.
happiness, right? And so I think a lot of us
Yes.
were redefining happiness, from something like a future based idea of
Yeah.
like, I want the money, I want the house, I want the car, I want the career, I want the clients, I want the promotion, I want the whatever, I want the trip. Um, all of the things like this is going to make me happy. When I achieve X, Y, and Z, then I will be
Hmm.
happy. And what we've found and what science has shown us in history is like when you get the X, Y, and Z, sure, you might have that feel good moment for a moment, for a second, but then
Yeah.
like you take yourself everywhere you go. So then you're like, oh, well, now what? Like it's
Hmm.
really about being happy in the present and not like,
Right.
so it's not a future based thing. I will be happy when. It's like, how can I be happy now? And so if happiness is a choice, so is suffering,
Right. Yep.
right? And so I think like but
It's a
again,
very
it's,
Buddhist,
oh yeah, I
very
guess it,
Buddhist, right?
yeah. And
Hmm.
I mean, I didn't make that up. It's a, I've heard that, I've heard that quote many times. I don't know where it originated, but like so I think it's so many of us, and again, our society, I think, has us linking happiness to achievement and money or travel or some ideal version of life. And then, kind of COVID stripped all of those things away. And so we had to measure like our sudden moments of joy or our small moments of joy. If happiness is a choice, how can I cultivate that for myself in this moment when I can't see my friends, I can't travel, the world is uncertain. For me and my husband, we weren't bringing in any income.
Hmm.
So it's like, then we're going to look at our peace of mind. We're going to look at our health. We're going to look at our connection. It's so many Zooms during COVID, but it allowed us to, like our dance parties, it allowed us to connect and just to stay
Hmm.
connected. Luckily, we had that technology during COVID, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, I think for me personally, it showed me that happiness is less about a perfect life and more about feeling or making the choice to feel happy in that moment, but also to feel the not happy moments, to feel the sadness, to feel the fear, to
Yes.
to
Yes.
feel the anxiety and the stress. That is a part of who we are as well, and that holds just as much wisdom as the happiness does. And it's harder to get to the happiness if we're shut, like, because we think we're happy, like if we're shoving down those emotions or we're numbing out with you know wine or bag of chips or shopping or whatever we use to, or work
Hmm.
to numb out, because we're like, I have to be happy, I have to be happy. I don't want to feel this way, I don't want to feel this way.
Yeah.
Then the bag of chips is going to feel good in the moment, but then afterwards you're going to feel like crap. Your body isn't going to be as healthy as you want. Those feelings don't go away, they still come up, right?
Right.
So when you had the dance party after your friend passed away and just like allowed all those emotions to process in your body, that you weren't numbing out, you were allowing them
Yeah.
to process. And I think like we have to feel those emotions that aren't necessarily happy in our body to help process them, to help them move through, to then be able to really feel into the moments of happiness or joy.
Yeah, and that's kind of something I say now to friends when they are really going through a very hard time is you got to move your body. You
Yeah.
got to move your body. Whether, you may not be the person who does a dance party. Maybe that's not your thing,
Yeah.
but you could just put on some music and go for a walk. Just be outside, be in nature, just
Yeah.
get out of your little place where you're wallowing
Yeah.
in that emotion because you need to feel it like you
You have
say.
to
You
feel it.
cannot try to just push it aside because
Yeah.
that just builds up.
Yeah.
And there will come a tipping point when all your
Yeah.
repressed emotions come spilling forth,
100%.
and it's not going to be good. It's not going to come
No.
out in a good way.
No. No.
So
Absolutely.
just get out of your surrounding where you feel so comfortable and where you're kind of able to just stay still and kind of really just succumb to the
Mhm.
feeling. Get out, move, listen to
Yeah.
music that you really love. Like, and that's the thing, like, listen to the music that you love. You don't,
Mhm.
like, we all have artists or albums or specific songs that just make us feel good or sad or
Mhm.
so many emotions. And if you need to feel
Mhm.
sad, put on the songs that will allow you to feel
It feels
sad
sad.
and get
Mhm.
that out. It's not
Yeah.
always about trying to say, oh, I'm feeling sad, but I want to feel happy. So I'm going to listen to these songs to make me happy.
Mhm.
No, it's like, okay, I really need to get these emotions out. But, like, for example, with my friend's passing, I didn't cry because I
Hmm.
was just like, I don't even know what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
I'm feeling so many things and I don't know which emotion wants to
Yeah.
express first. So I just need to
Yeah.
let this soup figure itself out. And that's why
Yeah.
for me, a dance party was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I do want to cry, I know the songs that will make me cry,
Right.
and I
Hmm.
know the emotions that are in certain songs that will get it out for me
Hmm.
if my own body won't allow it to
Sure.
happen naturally.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you want to cry, but you're blocking it
Yeah.
internally, right?
Yeah.
So it's not about, this is not to just say that, hey, no matter what situation you're in, no matter what's
Yeah.
going on in your life, just put on a song and you'll be happy.
Yeah.
We're not trying to say that, right?
Yeah.
We're just saying that music can be a conduit to
Hmm.
feeling whatever emotion you need to feel. But if you need and want to shift to happy, then find the artists and songs that
Yeah.
really do that for you.
Yeah. It can help you to process grief, fear, anxiety, and it could also help you get into a state of mind that's happy or empowered or,
Mhm.
excited, strong.
If you're at the beginning of a relationship, to just
Yeah.
like get those endorphins that are just
Yep.
bubbling up inside your body, let those
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or calmness. Like
or
if you want
calm
a
them.
state of to like if you you can like raise your heart rate or you can lower your heart
Hmm.
rate depending on the music that you choose,
Yeah.
right? Like if you need some calm, if you want to, a lovely environment while you're working something, that's more that your subconscious can just kind of focus on. I know you like to have music playing when you're working something without lyrics,
Yes.
perhaps, right?
Yep.
Whether that's like kind of a spa or more meditative style of music or, jazz or,
Hmm.
whatever that is that maybe, you just have playing in the background based on the state that you want to cultivate for yourself. Music is a really great way to do that.
Yeah, and not to say that it's the only way, obviously, because
Sure.
again, when I look at the evolution of my sort of path to happiness over the last closing in on 2 years now, because that's when we started the podcast. So that's when I've been able to. It's weird having like a digital record of
Uh-huh.
myself,
Yeah.
and sort of being able to revisit my life over 18 months is a very trippy thing.
Yeah.
But I did notice that there were several factors that contributed to my current state of feeling just very content with life.
Uh-huh.
At the beginning, I was always very sad and sort of lamenting that I didn't have a life partner,
Right.
that
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a romantic partner.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something I really, really like, that my soul really longed for. And I just was sure that it was never going to happen for me. But then, Mike and I started this podcast, and
Hmm.
he's one of my dearest friends. The opportunity to meet with him every week
Mm-hmm.
and just have fun,
Yeah.
like just do something that we were both having so much fun doing.
Yeah.
That was definitely one trigger. I moved in with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And so now we have two dogs. We have a beautiful home. We have a beautiful yard.
Mm-hmm.
Like we get along, our dogs get along. It's
Yeah.
just, there's connection. And
Yeah.
so for me, so not for everybody, for me, what I think I was actually missing was not necessarily a romantic partner,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just the connection to people I
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
And so
That
now,
community, that connection, that comfort. I
yeah.
mean, we're just even like humans need connection.
Hmm.
And Maya, I see it all the time because we think with our technology we're the most connected, generation and like, but we're actually the most disconnected in so many ways. COVID definitely did not help that with that. And now, when people come and spend a week at Anamaya for a wellness retreat, oh my gosh, you can just see the instant bonds that are created, that connection that's developed, and they become like lifelong Facebook friends, or they're thinking about, okay, we're going to do a reunion retreat next year.
Yeah.
Like just being in connection, and now you have that in a consistent way that you didn't
Yes.
have before, which is
Yeah.
super, super powerful.
So it's the connections and it's also the hobby. So
Mm. Well, it
last
brings you
winter,
joy,
I'm
right? Like it brings you,
absolutely.
yeah,
Last winter, I expressed to, my roommate Danielle, I was like, I'm going to really hygge it up. And hygge is the Danish art of sort of like coziness and contentedness.
yeah,
And so I looked into that, and there are ways that country, which spends so much time in winter in cold
yeah,
weather, but
yeah.
it is always amongst the top 3 happiest nations in the world.
Love
And
that.
that is because they focus on community. They
Yeah,
focus on hobbies, like finding a hobby, something you truly enjoy doing. And they
yeah.
focus on other things during the winter months, like creating warm, cozy lighting,
Hmm.
having comfortable throws and pillows so that your home space feels very warm, bringing the outside in. So
Hmm.
having like plants and wood and other natural materials in your home to make you feel connected to the
Yeah,
outside world, even when you're stuck inside.
yeah,
So I did a lot of that in the winter. And the reason I bring that up is because the podcast is a hobby. It's
yeah.
definitely a hobby. It's not something we're doing to become millionaires, but it brings so much joy. So
Hmm.
I would say to people listening that finding a hobby that you love,
Yeah,
whether it's knitting or
yeah,
playing pickleball or mahjong, which is the new craze, just find a hobby.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's important because your brain looks forward to it, right? And then it can help kind of regulate your nervous system, right? Because it's something that you really enjoy and
Hmm.
that you love to do, and it's repetitive. Like so kind of like with music, there's songs that get stuck in our head, like the earworms or whatever, right? They're repetitive, they're catchy. It's like emotionally linked to a memory. I mean, kind of hobbies are similar, right? Like they're repetitive, they're fun, we enjoy them, like, and then you're creating all these memories as you continue the hobby, whether it's pickleball or recording a podcast. So I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you brought that up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's just end off with some of our favorite songs. I know you mentioned some of them. We might go over those again because we sort of just briefly touched on them, but maybe you can pick 2 or 3 and tell us why they're your favorite.
Oh, that's a good
And
question and a hard one too.
yeah, well, you think about that because I put
Okay.
you on the spot. But I will talk about a few of mine. So I have
Okay.
sort of 3 songs that I listed here. One
Okay.
is Summer of '69 by Brian Adams, good old
Mm-hmm.
Canuck.
Good old
And I
Canadian
think
boy.
that great Canadian boy. Interestingly, I'm going to see his concert this summer in London, Ontario, with your daughter, my goddaughter Maya,
Yeah.
because she called me out of the blue last winter and she was like, Auntie Priya, do you just want to ask you a question? And then she said that she had become a fan of Brian Adams and he's
Yeah.
coming to the area and would I go see him with her? And I was like, first of all, how did you discover him?
Yeah,
Like
I know,
where?
right? I
He
still
doesn't,
don't know. She's
it's
like,
just
"Do you guys have you
fascinating.
guys ever heard of Brian Adams?" We're like, soundtrack to our childhood, my love. Yes.
Exactly. So, and that's exactly why that song, Summer of '69, always
Yeah.
gets me. It just takes me right back. I know every word. I have sung that song so many times in karaoke.
Yeah.
Anytime it does get airplay, it just makes me so happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And always, I'm always singing and dancing when that comes on. So that
Yeah.
song is just a very nostalgic connector to my youth. It's like a
Yeah.
direct line to the me from, my teenage years,
Yeah.
if if you can kind of like think back to, yeah, what was I like as a teenager listening to the song? So I sort of always love that when it comes on.
Yeah. So good.
Another one that I've talked about on the podcast several times is Long Live by Taylor Swift.
Mm.
And this is for me a very visceral memory and a habit that I have. And it involves my dog, Kaya.
Mm.
So the
Oh
first
yeah.
time I took her to the island, we were walking along the boardwalk. It was a beautiful sunny day. And I just happened to be listening to Taylor Swift, and that song came on. And so every time I take her to the island, I always play that song.
Yeah.
It's kind of become our song. And so even in the winter, when I hear it, it takes me to the summertime, walking on the boardwalk, Kaya off leash, just enjoying and smelling the sun shining on my face and just feeling so happy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that kind of just takes me to a very visceral
Hmm.
memory
Sense
with,
memory. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, with
Yeah.
with my little Kaya.
Yeah.
And then the final song is Pink Pony Club by Chapel Roan. And that song, I don't know if you're familiar with it, Kels.
I ish
Yeah.
because for I'm Priya knows like you know more about the, I would say, like top 40, or what's, I don't even know, do they even call it top 40 anymore, like just more
Mm.
of like what the current hits
Current hits and
are.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not, even though I have a 16-year-old, I'm not as up to date on all of that, but and what I am up to date on, it's probably because of you and her.
Well, I think that's because in my soul, I have halted at the age of 16.
Right.
So, so I'm always just listening to new stuff that comes on. But
Yeah.
the one of the lyrics that stands out for me from that song is like she sings, "I heard that there's a special place where boys and girls can all be queens every single day." And
Mm.
I just love how it's just about everyone feeling welcome to be who
Hmm.
they are and to express themselves freely in the same space with no judgment and
Mm.
just everyone accepting them.
Hmm.
And to me, that is a sentiment that can make me cry if I think
Hmm.
about it,
Yep.
because I think the whole world should be like that. And the fact
Thousand
that it's
percent.
not like that makes me so sad. And
Yeah.
so when I hear that song, it just it just makes me really happy to think
Yeah.
that there are places where everyone can feel
Yeah.
happy to and free to be themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
And I love that these newer artists are writing music about these topics and about these ideas, and spreading the word about about that. I think it's super powerful. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts about some of the songs that you picked now that you
Yeah, so
might
I
want
was
to?
thinking, I was like, so Down Under, I mentioned Down Under by
Hmm.
Men at Work. I think for me it's pure nostalgia, but it also has such a good hook,
Hmm.
right? Like it just has, and I'm not going to sing.
Do you come from a land down under?
Yeah, but if you
Yeah.
think about the beginning of that song,
Mhm.
and he actually, there's an amazing interview with him talking about him writing that song, but it has a very, very powerful hook. But it's also probably because I can't remember, but I'm sure when that was playing on the radio, because back in the day we listened to all our music on the radio. It was probably during the summer. I was probably on a road trip or in the back of the car, or in my backyard, and we had the radio playing, and
Yeah.
whatever. So I think that it's probably, but like it just has such feel good energy. And then Crazy on You by
Right, by
Heart.
heart. Remember when we saw them live at
Oh
the
my
amphitheater?
gosh, yes.
A standout moment for me, just sitting on the
Stand
lawn
out.
listening to them rail.
Oh my
Oh,
God. I mean, Nancy is, and
yeah.
like both of them, like I can't even. And so I think that one, though, like, first of all, her voice is like, I mean, unbelievable and
Mm-hmm.
unmatched.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they're actually, I think they're going to be doing a documentary on Heart. I heard little rumors, so I'm very excited about that. But like her voice is so crazy powerful. It just gives you shivers. Like it's unbelievable how amazing her voice is. So
Yeah.
and then Don't Stop Me Now. I can listen to that song over and over and over and over again. Again,
Mm-hmm.
major keys, high energy. I mean, Freddie Mercury, talk about another amazing voice that is unlike anyone
Yes.
else. And I mean, I know it's cited as one of the top happiness songs because of how it's kind of built musically. Like it builds, and even the beginning of it, it starts quite slow and melodic,
Yeah.
and then it builds and builds and builds. So,
It's
um,
like sex,
oh my God.
like good sex.
Really, really good
Just
sex.
starts off with a good feeling, but then just builds, and that
Yep.
climax just like
Yep.
rolls and rolls. It's
And
amazing.
then you can listen to it again.
I know. And that's the difference. You can listen to it on repeat,
You
like
could
one
go
after the
for a
other.
second, third, maybe even fourth time.
Helpings. Yeah. It's like an all you can eat buffet.
You can have as many
Oh my
climaxes
God.
as you want. Wait, what?
Exactly. That doesn't happen in real life, at least not as you age.
No.
Well, Kelsey, thank you so much for joining me as our very first guest co-host. This was super fun.
Yeah, super fun. I feel like I didn't get a chance to ask you questions.
Oh, well,
We'll have to do it again. We'll have to,
is there
or,
any burning
oh,
question you want to ask before we sign off?
um, oh, I know, because I think I know the answer to this, but like when you first like had that feeling, that relationship with music of like, like it made you feel so good. Do you remember
Yeah.
that first moment for you?
Yeah, I do. And yeah, it was, I have this memory of me curled up in a chair in my childhood home, wearing like proper headphones and listening to Anne Murray.
Anne Murray,
Anne
dude.
Murray,
I love that.
Canadian songstress, and listening to her album and just like listening to it on repeat and really connecting with it. And when I think about it now, it's so bizarre because her music, I wouldn't think is music that a child would connect to,
Yeah, yeah,
but somehow I did. And so
yeah.
that to me was it's the first memory I have of me really like sitting down and actively listening to music.
Yeah, we don't do that
Weird.
anymore, right?
We don't really do that
Like
anymore.
sit down and listen to an album from beginning to end.
And you know what? To be honest, like I have only started doing that again since we
Hmm.
started this podcast,
Hmm.
because I would like listen to the songs that came out as singles and then but that's all I listened to. So
Yeah,
now when there's a new album from an artist that I like, or if I've heard a song from an artist, I'm like, oh, this is a artist I've never heard of, but I like this song. I
yeah,
will go listen to their album and I'll give it a chance enough to listen to it, usually twice through, to
yeah,
get a feel for the songs, because it's
yeah.
hard when you hear a song once. You can be
It's
very
yeah,
dismissive.
100%. And also like because I know like because Scott has now produced I think 3 albums.
Mm.
There's a journey that the artist takes you on. Like they
Yeah.
pick which is the first song out of the gate,
Yes.
then what are we going to go to? There's a playlist involved, like a playlist at a concert. There's a playlist that's involved in putting them in order on that album. So
Right.
they're taking you through a journey. And I remember with Scott's latest album, which I know you guys talked about,
Yeah.
him and his partner Rod were thinking of how they were going to organize and in what order the songs were going to be for the album. And I just remember thinking, oh, it's such a shame nobody listens to, or not nobody, but few people listen to an album in that way. Even if we have
Yeah.
an album on Spotify, it's sometimes it's even then it's on shuffle. Like we're
Right.
not really consciously thinking of the journey that the artist is taking on us on from the one song and then into the next, into the next, and into the next.
That's a really great point, because then I think about concerts too and how they have a set list, and like, so in a concert setting you are forced to listen to it in
Hmm.
in the progression that they've created.
Hmm.
But you're right, like a lot of people will pick and choose, like, oh, I like the title of this song, so I'll listen to this one,
Hmm.
or they'll just randomly put it on shuffle. But
Yeah,
it is an interesting thing to listen to an album the way the artist intended it to be listened
that's
to,
it.
because there is a progression of emotions and
Yeah,
uh you know maybe even how it affects you.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, maybe just an encouraging thought for people to give
To
that a
try.
shot if there are
Yeah,
some new
yeah,
albums or artists that you're
yeah.
interested in listening to.
That yeah, exactly. Because I'm loving Bad Bunny right now, and I went on Spotify,
Yeah.
and like it's the top rated songs from a number of
Right.
different albums in order. So I'm like, oh no, but I want to go to this album and I want to listen to it all the way through, and so it's a great exercise.
Yeah, and it just gives it, you could play it in the background too, because
Hmm.
people will be like, well, I don't have like 45 minutes or an hour and 20
Hmm.
minutes to listen to an album through, but put it on while you're washing dishes or making dinner. And it's just
Exactly.
such a great way to open yourself to some new music, and just
Hmm.
also just to let the music kind of do what it does to your body.
Hmm. Yeah.
Whatever it might be. It might be
Hmm.
dancing, it might be just swaying, it might just be, nothing, but
Hmm.
yeah, just see what it does.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude. This was so great
Yay.
and always great to see you also.
Yes. You too.
Send
Thanks
my
for
love to
having me.
everyone.
I will.
Anytime.
Yeah, it's so much
Anytime.
fun. I love this topic and I love your podcast. And hi, Mike.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time out of your day. And folks, if you have any input into this, please reach out to us. You can slide into our DMs at The Little Podcast. That's LIITL on Instagram, or you can send us an email at lifeisinthelyrics@gmail.com. And we will include links to Kelsey and Anamaya and all that good stuff in the post about this episode. Thanks again, dude. Have a great day.
Thanks, dude. Bye.